Thousands of people clearly remember a 90s movie called Shazaam, starring the comedian Sinbad as a genie. They described the poster, the plot, even the afternoon they watched it on VHS. That movie does not exist. It was never filmed, never released, never made. And before you smile at them, you're almost certainly carrying a memory like this right now. In the next few minutes, we'll test yours and meet the brain machinery that manufactures memories of things that never happened. Start with a children's book you probably grew up with, the Berenstain Bears. Picture the cover. Most people are certain the name ended in EIN, but it was always spelled with an A from the first book in 1962. The authors signed their own name that way their whole lives. Now, the movie line. A masked villain says, "Luke, I am your father." Except he never says Luke. The real line is simply, "No, I am your father." Check any copy of the 1980 film. The word Luke is not there. How can so many strangers share the exact same wrong memory? These aren't random slips. Thousands of people miss the identical detail. That overlap is the whole mystery we're about to unpack. The name for this comes from a researcher named Fiona Broom. Around 2009, she met strangers who, like her, remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison. He hadn't. He was freed, became president, and lived until 2013. She called this shared false memory the Mandela Effect, and the name stuck. To understand it, face one uncomfortable truth about memory. Memory is not a recording you play back. Your brain rebuilds it each time. In 1932, psychologist Frederick Bartlett had people retell an unfamiliar folk tale. With every retelling, they reshaped it to fit what already made sense. He called these mental templates schemas, the shortcuts memory uses to fill gaps. Memory can also be nudged by the exact words other people use. In 1974, Elizabeth Loftus and John Palmer showed people a filmed car crash. Asked how fast the cars smashed, viewers guessed higher than those asked hit. A week later, the smashed group recalled broken glass that was never there. One changed word rewrote what they were sure they saw. Loftus went further. Could you plant a whole memory that never happened? In 1995, she planted a fake childhood story of being lost in a mall. About a quarter came to remember it, some adding vivid details of their own. A memory that never existed had grown roots and felt real. Here's a quick test you can run on yourself right now. Read these words: bed, rest, awake, tired, dream, night, pillow. Moments later, many people are certain the word sleep was on that list. It wasn't, but every word points to it, so your brain supplies it. In the classic experiment, most people confidently remembered a word never shown. This is why thousands of strangers land on the very same mistake. We share brains shaped by similar language and similar patterns. Names ending in Stein are far more common than ones ending in Stain. So the brain files the odd spelling under the familiar pattern it knows. Everyone makes the same tidy correction and gets it wrong together. Then the internet pours fuel on the fire. One person posts a false memory, and others adopt it as their own. Seeing a crowd agree can make a shaky memory suddenly feel certain. A private slip becomes a shared story, repeated until it hardens into fact. Some people prefer a wilder explanation. We slip between parallel universes. It's a fun idea, but there's no evidence for it and no need. Ordinary memory, working exactly as it normally does, already explains every case. In 2022, researchers even measured this using famous images and logos. Most people recall a board game mascot wearing a monocle he never actually had. The same wrong picture, held by strangers who never compared notes. Which leaves one last, unsettling idea to sit with. Feeling sure a memory is true tells you little about whether it really is. And scientists think each time you recall a memory, you may quietly rewrite it.